welcome to Fireside Tattoo. I'm going to call it Fireside Tats today, just as a throwback, because we're over 3 years in now. Back in the day, that's what it was called. Hey, welcome to Fireside Tats. Don't ever call it that. This episode is solo and brought to you by Tecate and Yingling, the double fist of beers. Can we hashtag double fist in this episode? Sure. We could try. There's another solo episode, and we had I did one not too long ago, and it had a lot of feedback, and I wanted to do another one. I just got back from Portland, Oregon, thanks to the fine folks at S8, famous for their red stencil, and we talked a lot. We sat around, drank beers, had a lot of discussions, and I got to meet some great Portland tattooers, and I got to have a little Q&A with them and pick their brains and things like that. And so I want to do the same with you guys. This episode is going to be about the Tattoo Improvement Network and the direction of the network. Because since it's your network, you should have some input on it, and it shouldn't just be the three of us in this room. Well, the four of us, but the three decision makers in this room should not be the only ones kind of dictating the direction of this thing, I don't think. So 3.5 years ago or so, we started doing this, and it was because we didn't see a lot of good information on YouTube, not a lot of good video podcasts. Joe Swanson was doing a nice job with Sullen, and Keith Caramello with his podcast, and not that Tattoo Now wasn't doing a great job with theirs, but theirs was it was always Skype, and there wasn't a lot of interaction or discussion with people that were comfortable around each other, and I wanted this to be really conversational, and that's the way that it set out. So over 3 years, we've done a lot of interviews, talked to a lot of great artists. We've made a lot of good friends. We've got to travel a lot. We found that our technique episodes are a lot more popular than our actual podcasts, which surprised me, but I'm very happy about that. And I'm glad you guys are getting a lot of benefit from it. I'm glad that we've built a good, solid family here. I love our Inside Fireside group. Our first group has been a lot of fun. But I just wonder if we are doing all we can do for the tattoo community. So I think about 3, 4, 5 years from now, do I want to be a talk show host, right? And I don't think maybe, but I don't think that's all I want to be. I think that this network can do a lot more than that. I think that I know that we're growing, we're coming along in a time where tattooing has changed so much. Technologically, it's changed so much. There are scientists jumping in, and we've been very lucky to be able to pick the brains of the guys at S8 who are just brilliant. And they have some incredible ideas, and they haven't launched 99% of them. But all of these things going on around us got me thinking, like, I want to be part of this revolution. I don't want to be just like standing on the sidelines interviewing artists and showing you how I make solid lines. Everybody makes solid lines. I don't mind doing that. I just don't want that to be all it's about. So my question to you guys, and I do want you to comment in the below the whatever the YouTube video. As you know, we're on top of that. We try to look at every single comment and respond to everyone. Send emails to info@fireside. Send them to jake@firesidetats.com if you have something that you want to say to me specifically. Maybe not Facebook. We miss the Facebook comments a lot for whatever reason. But I want to know, what are your guys? You get up, you go to your tattoo shops every day. You set up, you tattoo. What do you think about the industry? Where do you think it's going? What do you think the biggest upcoming pitfalls might be? This private equity firm, Bunker Hill, that's just come in and bought the two biggest tattoo suppliers on the planet, basically, in Tatsoul and in Kingpin. What does that mean for us? If everything that you use is exported to or brought out of China, all that work goes to China, and the price of all of your supplies drops by 30%. Are you cool with that? Are you concerned with the lack of regulation? Those kinds of things, not just that, but I mean, I'm just trying to throw ideas out that you might have an opinion on. As far as the science of tattooing, there are a lot of, hearing a lot of things about new types of needles, about different types of cartridges. Obviously, rotary machines have come a long way. So when we're thinking about like technology, science, art, in an industry that has been running this way for so long and has just recently exploded, where do you see the opportunities? Where do you see the pitfalls? What are your biggest struggles? Are you struggling to keep up, to change? If you're someone that's been tattooing for a long period of time, do you feel like that you're getting like swallowed up, left behind? If you're someone that has not been tattooing for a long time, does it feel overwhelming? Is it exciting? I just really would like to know what you guys think about the direction that tattooing is going. And the reason that I ask that is because if we're going to serve you guys, we need to be on top of it. And as you know, we're not a group that just teases you a little bit and then asks for your credit card number over and over. We try to give you all of the best information that we can. We've done it for 3 years, and the 3 guys right here have put a lot of time in and have not made any money at all. And we've bought a lot of equipment, and we've paid a lot of subscription fees, and we truly are here to help the tattoo community grow. So I'm going to throw out a couple of ideas. First, this by tattooers for tattooers mentality, this kind of club that we've been in for so long, I think it's a complete farce. I think it's bullshit. I want my supplies, I want my equipment to be made by people that understand those things and not people that draw pictures. I do not want a pair of basketball shoes made by Michael Jordan. I don't want Tiger Woods to build my golf clubs. I want engineers. I want people that know what they're doing to do these things. I know that's really contrary to what most people in tattooing want to see. They want people that are already in the industry to be making the decisions within the industry. I personally feel like an industry rarely grows when you start from the same base that you've started from in the history of that industry. So whenever me as a tattooer, if I were to create a product, I might create a product that is 10% better than the last one because I've used these products, I'm coming from the same mindset, and I'm making incremental changes. Someone not from a tattoo background, maybe from a scientific background, can 10x that in my mind. I feel like that you can come in from say a science background or from an engineering background, and you could build a machine that blows away anything that any tattooer could have ever built. It's kind of like, and I use this analogy at my talk in Portland at the S8 Roadshow. It's kind of like you think of someone like Elon Musk of Tesla. He was not a car guy. He was not an auto manufacturer. But he built probably the best car that's ever been built. He changed he took on Detroit and he built something that's so far beyond anything anyone ever thought of. He did the same thing with space. He took on NASA, not coming from that background whatsoever. Now he's building rockets that take off, go into orbit, and then land 4 feet away from where they took off. People that come from within an industry, rarely make those types of leaps. And I know that's a crazy thing to compare to something like tattooing, but I think it translates. So I'd like you guys' opinion on that. I didn't have a direction for this. I thought I was just going to get up here and talk. So, yeah, we're just winging it. What else might we? Inks have come a long way, but we're earlier this week or end of last week on CBS This Morning, there was a big thing about some toxic inks and then they got into the idea that they weren't regulated by the FDA. Do they need to be? I mean, are we okay with lack of regulation of the things that we're putting into people's skin? Are we okay with it if 80% of the inks and the materials that we use are coming from China, where we have no control? We can't drop in and see what they're doing. We can't see what the setup is. Do we need more regulation on supplies? Apprenticeships. One thing that we probably get shit on about more than anything else is that we're giving away quality information to people that aren't going through apprenticeship. So every so often we'll get someone that comments on a YouTube video and says, "What the fuck are you doing? You shouldn't be telling people these things. They need to go and they need to find a mentor." And 3 years ago when I started this show, or when we started this show, I believed that. I thought that was the case. Today, I've completely done a 180. I really believe that it's a completely flawed system. I don't think it's not. This has nothing to do with what I think. This is actual. I'm drawing from a bank of knowledge that I've acquired over these years of working with artists. People coming from small towns, tattoo shops specifically in small towns that don't have a lot of business and are charging outrageous amounts of money to put someone through an apprenticeship. And that apprenticeship might include, I don't know, driving a shuttle to a Navy base instead of drawing. It might include washing cars. I talked to 3 people in Portland this past weekend whose apprenticeship, mine was driving a shuttle to a Navy base. I talked to someone who washed cars for his apprenticeship. I forgot what the other guy did. But anyways, the point being, there's so many apprenticeships that so-called apprenticeships that get artists absolutely nowhere. And in my mind, the way that this kind of global this boom of information sharing has affected us, it's been overwhelmingly positive. I think the proof is in these 2- and 3-year tattooers that are doing bang-up jobs. They didn't get that from their mentors. They got it from being able to access information on YouTube, being able to watch me do a lining video and say, oh, here's where I'm screwing up. I'm running at 22 volts and it needs to be 6.5 or whatever. A lot of times whenever you confine someone to a mentorship or an apprenticeship and they have no options, they end up much worse off than they would if they watched our videos, if they watched any number of videos that are being put out by, say, Sullen on their tattoo time lapse or anything like that. Watching people that know what they're doing is the best way to learn how to do this. And I know that cross-contamination and things like that are an issue, but they're not like they were. You know, almost everything now, like my shop doesn't have an autoclave. There's a perfect example. I run a professional private tattoo studio that's licensed by the health department that does not have an autoclave because I have no use for one. Everything that I touch that comes in contact with that person is disposable. And they're so easy to buy. And maybe it's unfortunate that everyone can buy these and that a lot of these suppliers aren't making sure that you're a licensed artist, but they're not. So at the very least, the issue of cross-contamination, I believe, is far less than it was 5 or 10 years ago. So I'm just throwing out ideas, but these are the things that I want you guys to comment on. I'd like to hear what you think about the direction of the industry. If you're open to new technologies, if you just really think that tattooing has gone perfectly up until this point and there's no reason to change it. What do you think about venture capital funds getting involved? What about these multi-million-dollar buyouts that are coming from folks that have nothing to do with tattooing? I think that the Bunker Hill folks that bought Tatzel and Kingpin, I think they're like motorcycle investors or something, or motorcycle parts manufacturers investors, or I forget. They come from someplace that's not at all like tattooing. They tried to draw a correlation whenever they made that deal, but I didn't see the correlation. That's it. That's what I want to know. I'd love for you guys to participate, jump in, let us know where your thoughts are and what opinions you have. One final thing, and this is probably the biggest thing that I want to talk about. Would you guys have any interest in a central kind of site, some place that you could go for honest, like maybe product reviews, technique, like our Fireside Technique sessions, things that are going on within the industry from an economic standpoint or from a science standpoint or from a regulation standpoint, things and I'm not talking about, I think it'd be important that it's kind of open sourced and it's free. I think it has to be demonetized to work, but if there were a central place that you could go and you could click on a video and I pop up and I say, hey, today I'm going to compare this ointment to this ointment, kind of like we did on our ointment challenge. And I'm going to, in 2 minutes or less, you're going to see exactly what happened. And then I say, this one seemed to work better. This is the makeup of this one. This is the makeup of this one. Explain a little bit about the ingredients. And then maybe you could click to buy straight from that screen, the one that you chose. And I'm just making this stuff up. I don't even know if it's possible, but I'm just brainstorming, and then we're going to brainstorm a little bit more tonight after this. But do you have any interest in that? Would you like a single trusted source, or would you be hesitant to trust any single source? I think that's a good question. That's a good question. Would you be hesitant to trust any single source? Or if my mug popped up and said, hey, I tried this, and then I tried this, and I liked this better, would you trust that? Would you find any value in it? Answer these questions, please. No, I mean, not right now. Obviously, it's not out yet. But when you see this video, don't just watch it and go away. Whatever you have to contribute, we're prepared to respond to everybody. It might take us a while, but what we're going to do is we're going to go through and try to pull these responses and catalog them and see what you guys want to see. I just really don't want to like sidestep this revolution happening in tattooing. I want the Tattoo Improvement Network to be at the heart of it. I think we're capable of it, and it's important to me. This industry, I've been in it for 20 years now. It's given me a lot. I've met a lot of people. I started this show because I love tattooing, and I love all of the other mediums that people are experimenting in and what they're bringing to tattooing now. And it's never been a more exciting time than right now in this industry. And I don't just want to sit and talk to artists about it all the time. I want to find ways to be involved, and I want you guys to help us find ways to be involved. And that is it. Don't forget to subscribe at tattooimprovement.com. Subscribe to us on YouTube and on Facebook and Twitter, wherever you spend your time. Not Snapchat, because we don't do that shit. I still don't even know what it is, but I've heard of it. All right, guys. Thank you, and have a good night. Sorry if I bored you to death.